On today's episode of Setting the Pace, we're talking about the Pacers' upcoming matchup tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. Myles Turner, his return. What will that be like? Me and Facci give our expectations for the environment in the arena and what we think could happen in this game. So we're going to talk about that in the second segment. But in the first segment, I wanted to give Facci's opinion on Quenton Jackson and Aaron Nesmith, the games they had, obviously, stepping up and playing some big moments against the Golden State Warriors in that victory. We also get a little bit more injury update stuff on the Pacers injury report. So got a lot to talk about today, so let's get to it here on Setting the Pace. Happy Monday, Pacer Nation. Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast. Joining me finally after what feels like a week plus of not being together, it is the man whose foot is a little bit lighter after the game we saw on Saturday night against the Warriors. It is Michael J. Facci. Facci, how we feeling?
Well, we're feeling good because I got a little bit of that pep in the step back when the boys took down the Golden State Warriors. It feels good. It had been months since our last win, our last real win. Feels good to talk about something positive. Teams getting a little bit healthier. And yeah, maybe in terms of the real world, it's only been about a week since you and I have synced back up, but it feels like an eternity.
It's been a lot of Pacers basketball, and me and you haven't had a chance to talk about it. So obviously I did a real quick recap of the game if people want to hear the quick recap I did on Saturday night going into Sunday. But Facci, I'm curious your thoughts on the Pacers win against the Warriors. I know you were live tweeting about it, and there was some obviously great play from a lot of different players out there. So I'm just curious, what was your thoughts on that game?
I think it was one that, not to say that you had to have, but you wanted to see some life from this team. And I think that that's kind of where, the Pacers had some close losses this year. They've had some games where they've gotten blown out and lost by 20 or more. I think in this, you wanted to see some sort of life, and you saw it in that fourth quarter when Indiana found themselves down. I think it was 11 points at one point. And this is the Golden State Warriors. This is a team that, coming into the regular season is projected to win a lot of games. Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, a lot of good players. But you saw guys step up, like Aaron Nesmith having a career-high 31 points. Quenton Jackson with just a career-high overall game. And I feel like, who would have thought, we need Quenton Jackson out there that bad? And in reality, we did, because this man made a big difference, and he was not afraid to take big shots when it mattered most.
Quenton Jackson is the best healthy guard right now on the Pacers roster. And that's not even a hot take. There's not a lot of healthy guards right now, but he's very talented. And I know a lot of people have been clamoring for him to get on a standard contract, and the Pacers still have him on that two-way. I said it by next year. I think that they will try to bring him on a standard contract. He really fits the style of play they want to play. And I just love his confidence, man. I should have asked him about it post-game, because I feel like ever since he's gotten to the league, and maybe even before that, he's always played with such a confidence and such a swagger about him. And I'm just kind of wondering what drives that, because I love it. He's talking with Draymond out there. He's out there doing different things. And defending Steph Curry is no light task, and holding him to 24 points on 23 shooting, minus 21 in the game. So I really just like the way that he played, and it's one of those players that you have a hard time not falling in love with him instantly with just the energy he plays with.
No, he really does. He belongs, and he's looked like he belongs for a while now. I mean, I think if we've talked about it, it stands out, that 20-point game he had last year. I think it might have been against the Pelicans or so. I could be wrong, but it was he got valuable time last year starting games when you would have never expected that, to the point where he looks like a standard NBA contract-worthy player out there. I think it would be a crime if he didn't end up on a standard contract, but I want it to be with Indiana. I saw this stat. This was great. That Quenton Jackson scored 25 points, 10 assists. He had 3 steals, 0 turnovers. Obviously a great game. Only 2 Pacers have done that in the last almost 40 years. It's Tyrese Haliburton and Malcolm Brogdon. Think about that. He was just that effective and efficient. You never want to say he was Tyrese-esque, but in reality, for one game, he was, with the double-digit assists, the 0 turnovers, dropping 25 or more, hitting a big 3 late in the game. This is not what you ever expect from a two-way contract guy. I thought he gave the Pacers a major boost.
You said on Twitter, is Quenton Jackson the best two-way player in the league right now? And I was thinking to myself, I don't have time to do it today, but I would love to go through and look through every two-way player and see where I'd put Quenton Jackson, because he's a special player. I want to say the Pacers got him off of the Miami Heat's summer league practice team or summer league team. He might have actually played with them at one point. I don't know, but I know that when they brought him in there,
he played with Washington at one point.
Yeah.
I know he was with them. I don't know if he was with Miami after Washington, but I think he had logged like one NBA game or so with the Wizards.
I really have been impressed with the way that he has just become such a huge talking point when he's on the court. And it goes back to last year. Like even when the Pacers were down without Nembhard and Nesmith, he started next to Tyrese with Mathurin, Siakam, and Turner. And so he just seems to fit the system. And I love that about him. And then, of course, we can talk about Aaron Nesmith as well, because it's been a bit of a rough stretch for Nesmith here and there. And I know Rick mentioned that they're asking him to do a lot more than he's ever been asked to do. But I like that he's getting this opportunity, Facci, because it's only going to make him more confident. And we saw how important he was to the success of the team last night. Guarding Jonathan Kuminga, somebody you've been a big fan of for a while. I mean, it's no easy task, and Kuminga's gotten better each and every year. Starting for the Warriors after everything that played out, like, it's kind of interesting to me. But I like the way that he defended Kuminga for the most part, but offensively, he was hitting all the right shots at the right time.
Really was. And yeah, his struggles have definitely been there. I mean, there's some 2 of 16 shooting performances, 6 of 17. This is for a guy that was, like we said, 50, 40, 90 last year. I mean, he's been very efficient, been anything but this year. Huge breakout game against Golden State, going 10 of 19 from the field. We mentioned 31 points. That is a career high. His previous career high was 30 points. And I just feel like this is, hey, you know what? Let's get in a rhythm. 5-11 from 3. You know the man could shoot a really good 3 ball. He's got to expand his game, though. I think this is with everybody. Like, there is no Tyrese out there. Every player needs to look to be a bit more of a scorer themselves, set themselves up. And I think for Nesmith, it'll come. You know, he's everything that you want as a Pacer. There's going to be good games. There's going to be bad games. But, like, we're going to see some big performances. 31 points, career high for now. I think he's going to have some big performances this year where we could be seeing additional career highs. Sky's the limit, and I'm just happy that this guy inked the new extension in Indiana to be here for years to come.
Yeah, he's a good player. Very good player. Fits the system very well. And I know that his ceiling probably isn't at the level of Mathurin's in terms of being an offensive scorer, but what he brings on both ends of the floor, it's very comparable to what Mathurin gives you just on terms of, like, value. I mean, I don't want to just sit here and act like I'm throwing Mathurin under the bus or anything like that. I'm just saying they are totally different players. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we've been pretty like, okay, you know, Nesmith fits that system more. We've seen it a little bit more. I know people get annoyed with that. I'm not even trying to say, like, get rid of Mathurin right now. I'm just saying in general, they're very hard to compare because they're very different. And that is why, like, when you try to, like, say, well, who should they keep between the two? I don't know. Nesmith's under pretty good cost control for what he's signed to, and I think Mathurin's contract could be much, much more expensive, which is a topic for another day. But you mentioned, like, Nesmith, he needs more opportunities like this, and they're going to need him to do it more with Mathurin out week to week. And the injuries, Facci, I mean, they just keep piling up. Like, Mathurin gets hurt in that game against Memphis, and then we find out Obi Toppin is going to be having surgery to have a screw put in his foot. He'll be out at least until the beginning of February. So you're just really thin, and the Pacers actually had to make a signing. Actually, 2 signings since we've talked last. Mac McClung was brought in. He played in 2 games and didn't play terrible. And then Jeremiah Robinson Earl was brought in on a 10-day hardship exception contract after the Obi news. So really, it's just what is going on with the Pacers? They can't seem to stay healthy, but they did get Johnny Furphy back. It's just constantly monitoring the injury report, and it's getting a little bit tiring.
These injuries are it's like the stock market. It's up and down, this and that. One guy's out, one guy's in. It's like it's all over the place. So for Mac McClung going to that signing, because we could talk about it, like, I was never really a big Mac McClung fan. Felt like he was more of like this is a really good dunker, but, like, he keeps finding his way into, like, a game or 2 each year. I know he didn't play last game, but I was impressed at times with his hands. Like, I felt like he had a lot of steals. He was active, just, like, swiping passes, you know, jumping and deflecting passes, things like that. Maybe be like, all right, you know what? He worked for some tough baskets. So not the worst signing at all. I think a lot of people were messaging me saying, like, Mac McClung, what is this, multi-year deal? It's like, okay, it's a non-guaranteed deal. Like, come on.
Both years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this isn't what it might sound like on paper. The Pacers need guard help. Yeah. Someone played well in the G League. So it's like, all right, give him a shot. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, we'll see what happens there. Those 10-day contracts, those are very tough to really be able to make any sort of impact. But the Pacers needed bodies. They really did. And other than that, the Obi Toppin news, it's obviously rough. I mean, bring him back in February. At this point, we'll see how the season plays out. You don't want to rush him back. That could be really rough. You don't want to get ahead of ourselves either and say, okay, that probably could kind of tank any sort of trade value or anything of the sort if he's not back by the deadline. But in other news, like there's other players that are coming back. We did see Quenton Jackson come back. We did see Johnny Furphy come back. Taylor Peters back. So like little by little, the Pacers are getting some guys back. And one thing that I do want to bring up, and I know I'm bringing up a lot, is Rick Carlisle said on October 9th, don't ask me about TJ McConnell until at least November 9th. He said a month. November 9th is technically about a week from now. Yeah. So I don't know what the latest is on TJ McConnell, but I'm hoping that little by little, Pacer players are coming back. You had a great tweet. You saw Andrew Nembhard warming up last game against Golden State. What did your eyes tell you?
I mean, he was hitting the shots, and I know that the one that I shared, he just happened to be doing some funky little spin move thing and went around the world doing that, but then he also did some normal catch-and-shoot three-pointers and very rhythmic stuff and not stuff like we saw with what I posted. But him and Jenny Busick were working together. I asked Dustin Dopirak, I was like, look, has he been doing this on the road as well? Because I've only been at the last 2 home games, and there's another video that was out there too from what we saw Friday night against Atlanta. He was warming up as well, and Dustin said he has been. So I think he's ramping up. I think he's probably the closest to returning from the injury report next, which is good. We know that the shoulder injury was kind of a weird one, so I don't really know like it's never been like listed as week to week or anything like that. It's kind of been more of a day-to-day process. So obviously I think he was ruled out for the game against Milwaukee. Everybody pretty much ruled out. That was ruled out the previous game against Golden State. Furphy is still listed as probable, which means likely going to play. Same with Giannis. He's listed as probable. So, yeah, I think that he's close. I don't know how close. Maybe when they start their West Coast trip, he could be healthy. I haven't heard anything else on McConnell because Rick asked us not to talk about that. He said the same thing for Cam Jones, though, too. He said ask around the same time as McConnell. Mathurin, it seems like he's going to be out for a little bit longer because he wasn't out doing any pregame work at all. So it seems like when they said week to week,
that's tricky.
It's hard to tell. It's been about a week since the injury happened, right? Like 8 days now. I would say probably a 3 to 4 week thing if I'm guessing based on the intel that I've gotten. So just guessing though. I don't have any like insight on when he's coming back. I would just say at best 2 weeks, from the injury, but I would say more 3-4, just leaning that way because it's a little bit of I think it's a toe injury, right? So like
it is. It's like a right toe sprain, I believe. Yeah. What was the exact? I want to say it's like big toe, right big toe sprain to be exact. It is what I read.
And that's a lot of like where Mathurin plants, right? Like when he drives to the basket. So like that's got to be painful to deal with if you're like.
I believe he was in a boot at one point, right?
I think he might have been. I don't know if he still
might have been initially, but it was when I saw that, I was like, oh man, okay, this is not going to be like you're out 2 to 3 games. This is probably a couple of weeks, and I think that right now we're basically, like you said, we're at that, just at over a week span. So it's going to be some time. Don't rush him back. You don't want to have this linger.
No, and it's like we have enough guards already. Like they got enough 2-way guards. The problem is like you don't want these 2-way guys playing too many early games because they're going to run out of eligibility because you can only play them 50 games. And with McClung's contract being what it is, like the people that have been saying convert Quenton Jackson. Look, if he plays for the first 50 games of the year and he's in the rotation, and they're like, we need him on the court for our team, convert him. That's what could happen. I know some people have said, could they cut Mac McClung and then sign him to a 2-way? I think he would be eligible.
I don't know.
I just don't know.
Eligible to be for 3 years.
Yeah,
and I believe he's been a 2-way for 3 years.
Okay, so he was probably actually just on the Bulls G League team.
Yeah.
Windy City Bulls. So it might be more of a, does he want to go back there? Does he want to side with the Noblesville Boom? I mean, I don't know how the G League rights work either. I would assume that the Bulls would have a chance to bring him back since he's signed with the Pacers. I don't know all the G League contract rules. There's a lot of interesting, verbiage there and how that all works out. I don't know the contracts and all that stuff, but I do know that like Kyle Guy, when he retired from basketball, I saw Tony East tweet this out or talk about on this podcast that all of a sudden his G League rights just kind of vanished, and he was able to pick the Noblesville Boom when he said he wanted to come back. It wasn't like he had to go back to the team he retired from. They didn't have his rights anymore because I think it has to be so many years before your eligibility with that team runs out. But anyway, that is not that important, Facci. We're getting kind of a little bit on a rabbit trail here, but especially me. But I'm just saying, I feel like at this point, Rick is playing Quenton over him, Ray J over Mac McClung. Don't expect McClung to stick around. It was a fun couple of games, and it caused a lot of buzz on Pacers Twitter, especially the AI video that nobody liked. I mean, what did you think about that?
Interesting. And I can't be wrong, but did I see a number 7 cropped on him initially when the signing happened? Somebody had him out.
I shared that as our graphic because there was a thing on Instagram I saw.
It was you then. And I was just like, I know Jermaine O'Neal is still alive, so he's not rolling in his grave, but I'm just like, could we stop with the number 7 just being passed around like some Halloween candy? I mean, it was just, please. I know it's been around for a while. That's just my old man gripe. But yeah, the AI video with this, I know there was that had people all up in arms.
Yeah, and then I love that they actually like kind of trolled fans back by posting a live video of him at the game, and it was very similar to like what they had done. Look, the jersey swap was done by Pacers content creators. They just added a little AI to it to add some flair, and people just can't stand AI. I think you just gotta have to get used to it. It's not going anywhere. It feels like an old person getting mad about something young people are doing now. That's how I feel. So anyway, anything else from the game that you want to talk about, or what you've seen from this team so far? Just
overall, great to see some heart. I mean, we also just saw that like the Pacers had been on the other end of things at times. Like against Dallas, it was a close game where they had an opportunity to win. It's good to see the ball go in. You convert, you win a close game, especially at home. Give the home fans something to cheer about. And once you get that, the weight off your shoulders becomes just a little bit lighter. And game by game, if we're starting to get a player back, things will get just a little bit easier. And you start to look at the schedule, and it starts to pick up a bit. You got Milwaukee coming. Is that a good segue for you right now for us to transition?
Yeah, let's actually go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and then we will come back and talk about the Pacers' upcoming matchup against their biggest rival, the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, Facci, we're back, and you were talking about that. The Pacers' upcoming schedule does seem to be getting a little bit more difficult. There is a little bit of an easy game on Wednesday against the Nets sandwiched in there, but this is the Bucks, the Nets, and then a West Coast road trip where you got to play Denver, and then on the second night of a back-to-back, play Golden State, who you just beat. So it's going to be difficult, but let's talk about this Bucks game because I know this is the one that everybody had circled on their calendar. It just stinks that you're not going to have Ben Mathurin, you're not going to have Obi Toppin, no Tyrese, no TJ. Those 4 specifically, not having them, it really does stink for this specific matchup.
It really does, because this is the matchup that, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe, you could even say 2 weeks ago, we would have had that circled. This is the big matchup. This is going to be like, I don't know, part of the TV show where there's going to be drama. Now it's like for Milwaukee, yeah, they're going to come in here. They're going to want to beat the Pacers real bad. Indiana will want to beat Milwaukee, but it's going to be a tougher job for Indiana to get done. But the real theatrics are going to be between, I think, the crowd and Myles Turner. Which way is that going to go? Is there going to be cheers? Is there going to be boos? Is there going to be both? What's louder? I mean, is Turner is emotional? Is there going to be a video package? There's a lot of questions to ask. And I think that that's part of the fun of being able to find out of like what is going to go down.
Okay, Facci, let's play a little game then, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to tell me the percentage you think, the likelihood, I guess I should say not likely to likely, percentage-wise, that the Pacers have a tribute video to Myles Turner for his return on Monday.
I want to say 90%. I think they will. Will.
I would agree with you.
Organization. Like I just feel like that. Sure, they don't like how things went down, but like they know that this is an opportunity that, like, if you do it the second time around, it doesn't pack as much of a punch. I think they probably learned from some things in the past. I think they do it.
Yeah, they didn't used to do it, right? They were like pretty hard. Like, we're not doing this. We're not giving anybody any credit. Like even like Paul George, anything like that. I went to that Thunder game. I was so pumped to boo Paul George. Couldn't wait. But I will say that they're probably going to play the video.
I think so.
My question is now, do we hear what the video says in the highlight package, or do the boos outweigh the sound that's being pumped into the arena? Now that's a real question.
I don't think it outweighs. I think there will be boos. I think there will, but like there's also going to be some decent portion of the crowd. Maybe it's the older crowd that is just like, hey, you know what? Like they're like, if you're a younger person, if you're probably 30 years old and below, you're definitely booing. I just think that those are people that are just like, oh man, if you're an older group that might be 50 or above, I think you're probably cheering. You're probably.
What about the 40-year-olds? You're leaving them out of this conversation.
You're in the middle. You're in the middle. You're like, I don't know. You know,
I think under 50 boos.
Yeah.
All anybody under 50 probably boos. That's what I would say.
And that's fair. I think that 40 was that weird wiggle room where it's like, I don't know, you're hard to get a little read on, but I do think that, the under 50 crowd probably is a little bit more living in the moment. Probably like, hey, you know what? I'm not happy how things went down, or the comments that you said last week, last month, anything of that sort. And then I do think that the older group is saying, you know what? Thank you very much for 10 years. I'll always root for you, type of thing. This time is going to be like, if there's going to be boos, the boos are going to be the loudest this time around. Yeah. I definitely believe that they will die down as Turner returns over time. But this is the game where, he might get an earful.
Do you think that he gets booed the entirety of the game every time he touches the ball like we've seen before?
I don't think it'll be like Paul. In that Paul George game, it was every time he touched it.
I don't know, bro. I think it might be every time he touches it.
It could be. But I definitely think that I think the loudest boos are going to be in the beginning. You know, like
no, they will, but I think it'll carry on. Now, if the Pacers are getting murdered out there on the court, like they're down by like 15, 20 points, I think the boos might stop.
Yeah, maybe.
But if they're close, every time he touches the ball, like I think he's getting booed. I just think at this point, there's too many fans that are rubbed the wrong way, not only because he left for the biggest rival, but because of the comments he's made about this team, his teammates. It's honestly that. I think that the financial thing, like people were kind of on our side at first, like, yeah, the front office kind of like played hardball and they got caught with their pants down, like I've said several times. But I think more fans were understanding of that. Now there were some fans that said he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve that much money, which, okay, that's your opinion. But I'm just saying, I think that more fans are just hurt by the team that he chose and the comments he made afterwards that kind of felt like it was a slight to fans. And I know he's kind of been backtracking a little bit, trying to walk things back and trying to make things look good, because I know the most recent one on the Thanalysis podcast, which is just a hilarious name. Anybody right in there, like, nepotism at its finest right there with Thanasis, only reason he's even famous is because of his brother. But let's be honest, like Myles said what he said, and some of the stuff in context, it doesn't nearly sound as bad as it said, like what he said. But
the longer clip does make it seem like, okay, I could see how people do the little clip farming or whatever. They get one little clip and all of a sudden it's like,
look at you, clip farming,
smack,
Yeah, Facci with the clip farming reference.
Look, I stay up to date with the kids. I try.
What's 6'7" mean?
Yeah, that I'm still not ready to tell you, but I do know that the kids are going wild over it. But if you're Turner, why would you even want to touch Indiana in any sort of subject on any sort of podcast? Because every time he does, he makes a fool out of himself. It's like something goes viral for all the wrong reasons, while then it feels like he needs to come out and correct the comments. He's done that numerous times, and it's like, man, you don't want to touch that subject. Now I guess I know why Paul George used to just kind of say things like my last team or my old team or something, where he's trying to really like not get himself in trouble or get in the weeds of things, and Turner's getting in his own way.
Most definitely. And I'm just curious because I want to know from your perspective, if you were a fan in the building, would you boo Myles Turner?
I think it would. Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, I would. I just think.
Would it be peer pressure, or would you just do it out of like spite?
No, look, I'm not mad that he like took the money in this, because there was probably a much better offer than what the Pacers were offering. And it's like, hey, look, people got families. It's the comments afterwards that's like, whoa, man, there's ways that you could have left with like class. Like you really could have classed up and just say, hey, man, sometimes it wasn't meant to be or whatever, it was, or hey, I'm at a point in my career where, I only want to look forward. I don't want to look back. Like there's ways that you could have gotten around this instead of saying like, I don't know, you're ready to win now or this, or we couldn't win or this, that. And it's just like, in the end, we were able to see through all of that. As like, I feel like I saw a guy that was more hurt than anything, and his comments just didn't seem authentic. He was, like we said, playing a villain that in reality, it's like, that's not who you are. That's an act. And right now, the Bucks have a decent record. They do. Great. Turner's play, I wouldn't label that decent at all. Right now, just to put this in reference, if people have not seen what Myles is putting up on the year, he's averaging 9.8 points per game. That would be the lowest of his career, lower than his rookie year. 6.2 rebounds. The 6.2 rebounds would be the lowest since his rookie year. The field goal percentage, 39% from the field. That would be the lowest in his career by a wide margin. 34.4% from three would be nearly the lowest percentage that he's ever had. He's getting to the free throw line. He actually, in 6 games, he has 8 free throw attempts total. He's gone 4 of 8 from the free throw line in 6 games. And then it's just like things like, hey, his blocks are down, other stuff like that. So overall, if this is like the man here to keep Giannis happy and here long term, like I just feel like Giannis is probably thinking, man, this is the best that we got. Like, and they're maxed out. I mean, picks wise, dead cap wise, between Dame, what you're paying Myles, like right now, even for Turner, it feels like you're never going to be happier than you were in Indiana. I stand by that.
Yeah, I mean, and he acknowledged that a lot by saying that Tyrese really got him going and got him set up and things like that. But he knew what he was leaving for that. Oh, yeah. That's why I was just like, it all comes down to money. Like that's as simple as I can make it. It all comes down to money. And just to kind of use like a dating reference, right? Like I think we use a lot of those analogies here to kind of like compare things, right? Yeah. I would say like, for example, I think this was Myles like having a heart-to-heart with his long-term girlfriend, saying like, hey, when are we going to tie the knot? When are we going to get married, And they're like, you're not ready to commit all the way. And so he's looking around and somebody else says, hey, we'll marry you. We're ready for a serious engagement. And so I think that's what he looked at. I think he was just like, you know what? I want something that's a little bit more committed, someone that values me, because that was his big thing, is like he felt like he wasn't valued by the organization. And what he said, like, it does make sense. And he said, they told him that you're going to get paid. Don't worry about it. You'll get your bag, like all that stuff. But like they couldn't extend him anyway because of the deal with the what's it called again? The renegotiation and extension.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Renegotiation extension. And so, it's a unique situation to be in. Yeah. Like it really was.
But you got to realize they gave him $37 million.
People forget that.
On that first year. So basically he got an additional $17 million added to his contract. And then you add the next 2 years where he made around like 21 and 20. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was like out of this world, like he was getting underpaid, because if you include that 17 million on those 2 years, that's right around 26 million, which is what he got. So I don't know. I think that he's a good player. I think that his fit in Milwaukee, like it's still early. So I don't want to be like looking at his numbers now and just being like, oh, but for all those that are hate watching, have fun. That's what it's all about. Like, I'm sure you saw the video that was going viral on Twitter yesterday of Myles Turner with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sky hook. Did you see that video?
No, actually I didn't. I gotta check it out.
Okay, so it's one of those like fake Legion Hoops accounts. I think it's like Legion Noops or something like that. It said Myles Turner, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sky hook, where he catches the ball in the paint, turns around and airballs a hook shot. So, it's like, and the thing is, like, we have had a lot of like conversations about Myles Turner as long as we've been doing this podcast, right? Like we've had the good days, the bad days, the trade him days, the we got to keep him days, don't take him for granted days. Like we have had a roller coaster of a relationship with Myles Turner, just as fans and as people that cover this team, and like determining what he actually means to this organization, what he means to the success of this team. But I never felt more proud of him or more happy to have him than I did the last 2 to 3 seasons. I felt like he really just stepped up, hit some big time shots in the playoffs, had some big moments. And I like Myles Turner. I think he's a really good person, stand-up guy. Several times where he would say, hey, what's up, Alex, when he'd see me out and, on the court and things like that. Like he didn't have to acknowledge that. Like he gave Derek Kramer from my Pacers a signed jersey for doing the Miles High Club. Like very, very, very nice human being. our friend Rooster called him a POS of a human. I'm okay, Rooster. He said, I might have crossed the line, but I kept it on Twitter, so I'm keeping it. I said, you did cross the line. Fans take things way too seriously, but I think that fans have every right to boo him. Do what you feel like you need to do, and it's on Myles if fans boo him. I think that it all comes down to, hey, loose lips sink ships, and that's exactly what happened. Is he kind of spoke a little bit too much. He's been doing too many podcasts, too many media outlets, and he needs to use the Tyrese Halliburton method. Next question, right?
I mean, that was the way to handle it, though. Like, it really was. Like, I wish no ill will on Turner. There's no, like, hate in my heart for Turner or anything of that. He did 10 years in Indiana. Like, he bled, Pacer, he bled Indiana. I just feel like at this point, it's more of like the, hey, man, like, just dodge the question next time. Just be like, oh, hey, I've gotten way too many, sound clips of me talking about the Pacers. I'm not doing that today. And people will be like, all right, I respect it. So, or just talk with class and just be like, I love my time in Indiana. Got nothing but great things to say about it, but I'm a Milwaukee Buck right now. And that's what I want to talk about. And I think people would be like, all right. And they would stop asking about it, but it's just like, it's making its rounds, going viral every time he's asked. He says the wrong thing. So for this, would I love to be able to have Turner return to Indiana, catch some boos, and we win? Yes, I would. I would enjoy that very, very much. I hope that Indiana is able to, I think they'll be fired up for that game. They have some limitations based on the injuries that they have, but it's not the only time that we're going to play the Bucks. It's not. So, this could be a fun series this year. It's a team that we've seen a lot over the last few years. And I'm sure for Turner, he's going to be fired up. I'd like to see what type of performance Turner has. I mean, I mentioned it's been a tough start to the season, but on any given game, we know he's capable of a big game. He is, but maybe he gets a little bit nervous. Maybe he's actually never really been subject to boos like this before. So I'd be curious to see how he handles it.
I will be more surprised if he handles it well than if he
so would
I. I think it's going to mentally get to him. I really do. This might be a heavy Bobby Portis game, to be honest with you.
Maybe. I'm just curious to see, like, can Turner hold up under that type of pressure? Like he's seen Halliburton deal with pressure and boos and this and that and get, like, just booed out of the garden or anything of the sort. But, like, Turner's never really been in that boat before. He's never really been the focal point. And I think it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how the Pacers go about guarding this Bucks team, how the Bucks go about guarding the Pacers as we kind of like just close things out here. It's like, who's gonna guard Pascal? Like, if they put Giannis on him, that's gonna wear Giannis out.
They do.
They're gonna put Kuzma on him. They're really small. They can't really put any bigs on him. So maybe they play Portis on him a little bit more, go a little bit bigger. I don't know, but Pascal's been unbelievable. I would expect the double teams to continue to come. Definitely. Make the Aaron Nesmiths, Quenton Jacksons, Jarris Walkers beat you. And then, of course, who's going to guard Giannis, right? Like, that's a big question, too. Can you put Pascal on him for the majority of the game? I don't think so. I think that's going to be too tall of a task. But who else do you have to throw on him? I think you're going to see Nesmith and Jarris take turns on him. Might even see a little bit of Johnny Furphy on him at times just because he's healthy back and around that same size. But Furf's no slouch. I'll tell you that. They were all talking about that after the game, saying, teams kind of size up Furf, right? They kind of look at him and say, oh, we can take this guy, and then he holds his own. So I don't know. I'm curious that, but the three-point shooting is just real for Milwaukee. Like, they are a very good three-point shooting team. You got to be, aware of that, and the Pacers know all about that. We saw what happened in the playoffs last year. They can make that happen, but I will say Ryan Rollins, Facci, has got off to a really good start for them.
I wanted to say it. I was waiting for you to finish. It's like, what a great surprise for them, because they had actually waived him at one point and then brought him back. Mm-hmm. And imagine if they didn't, because he's averaging 18.2 points per game, 54% from the field, 40% from three. Like, we were all wondering, like, what is Milwaukee going to do at point guard? Like, how are they going to figure this out? And he has been awesome for them. So they might have found something there. The team looked really rough on paper, and he's been like the major bright spot for that Milwaukee team. So Ryan Rollins, who's bounced around the league, played with Golden State, watched him, Milwaukee, this and that. Hey, I got to tip my hat. He's playing well.
He has been playing well. Kevin Porter Jr. is still out, I believe, with an injury for them, so he won't be playing in this game. And, The Pacers bench, it's been kind of weak. Ray J. Dennis has really struggled after a really good showing against Dallas. I was like, man, they maybe need to start him if they can, just to get you some solid point guard reps, because I really liked what we saw from him in Dallas, but they're like, nah, we're going to keep him off the bench. And then he's like shot like 2 of like 13 or 2 of 14, maybe even more than that. Maybe he was better in the second half of the game against Atlanta, but there for a moment, I know he had only hit he was like 1 of 7 in both first halves of both games. So just not a great showing from Ray J since he had the big blow up game in Dallas. But other than that, like I'm looking at this bench and I'm like, this Bucks bench, they have some firepower. They've got Cole Anthony, who's been playing pretty well. Gary Harris is a solid vet that knows how to play. Amir Coffey has had a couple of games here and there where he's been able to put some points in the basket. So not like it's like a super strong bench, but I think they just have a little bit better depth on their bench than the Pacers right now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, who doesn't? I just think that right now the Pacers bench it's thin. I was gonna make a joke when you were saying who's gonna guard who. Who's gonna guard Quenton Jackson? All right, that's what I want to know, because right now, if he can be who he was against Golden State, hey, we got a shot. But I know it's a tall task to ask. So I think for right now, yeah, the Pacers back end of the bench, you don't really know what you're getting. It's a far difference from the Pacers bench of the past. But like I said, like week by week, this team's going to get healthier. They're going to get stronger. Yeah. They're going to get one. It feels like 1 or so players could return each and every week. Like, what if they do get Nembhard back this week? What if they do get Mathurin back the following week? What if they get McConnell back the following week? Like, all of that is in the realm of possibilities. Mm-hmm. Those 3 guards could all be returning within the next 2 or so weeks, maybe even 3. It's a possibility. So, like, Indiana's got to weather the storm. And one thing I want to put out there, just to kind of make people maybe feel a little bit better, is look at the New York Knicks right now. I mean, as we're recording this, they're about to win. So they'll go 3-3. But they were 2-3 by the time we started this podcast. And they had all the expectations in the world to win the East. And they're 2-3. So they'll be 3-3. You look at other teams like the Orlando Magic. Highest expectations probably since they went to the finals with Dwight. They're 3-4.
Yeah.
So there's teams, Cleveland, 3-3. These are teams with massive expectations of winning the Eastern Conference, and they're sub 500 or 500. And then there's the Pacers that are off to a 1-5 start. It really makes me feel like those teams are going to be just fine. Why can't Indiana? It's a long season. We saw that. Pacers played over 100 games last year. So let's get to 25, 30 games in before we even think about judging this team.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned, to be honest with you. I think that it's way too early. It's basically the month of October is a wash. It's a new month. It's a new Pacers team. Let's see what they can do. Like, that's what I'm hanging my hat on. Can they find some type of groove, some type of flow? Because a lot of these guys haven't played together either. So now it's all of a sudden like, for the first time in 6 games, we had the same starting 5 against Atlanta and Golden State. We've been changing our starting 5 every single game because Rick doesn't know who to go to. And it's like, okay, we got to change it up for this matchup and this matchup. And so I would assume that they see the same starting 5 once again against Milwaukee and just kind of ride with that so you start integrating more players back. But yeah, there's no reason to panic yet. I mean, I understand it's not great, and I've said it every podcast. I'm not going to keep saying it, but let's just pump the brakes on the tanking stuff, Facci. Yeah. A lot of basketball left to be played, and I think last year, what were the Bucks, like 3-10 at one point?
They were horrific to start the year. They looked like everything was going to be devastating. I know they didn't end up having like a great season, but in terms of like being a playoff team, like, yeah, they were never at risk. Like in the second half of the year, like, oh, Milwaukee's in trouble. Like, they got off to a really, really bad start. And on the flip side, Cleveland got off to a really, really good start. And in the end, Bucks and Cleveland basically had the same result in the season. They both lost to the Pacers, just 1 round difference. So whether you get off to a really, really blistering hot start or you get off to a bad start for the first 10 or so games, it really doesn't matter. It's a long season. You want to be playing your best ball in March and April, I would say. If not,
absolutely, Facci. Absolutely. And that's what the Pacers did last year. They really got things going in that second half of the season, and they had the second best record, I think, after January 1st or whatever it was, to the Thunder, right? And those are the 2 teams that made it to the NBA Finals. So it doesn't matter how you start, but it matters how you finish. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up for today's episode. Facci, I want everybody to see your shirt that's on YouTube because there we go.
I didn't even plan this. It was just meant to be.
It was meant to be a little pep in the step.
Bucks.
Beat the Bucks.
That's how it's always been.
Beat the Bucks, do what the Pacers do, and maybe we'll get some curds in the third. Just to rub it in a little bit more, the Wisconsin Culver's restaurant reference there. That is a new promo for the Pacers, and they obviously won against the Warriors on Saturday. So Sunday was buy one get one free Penn Station subs. So we're all about the food promotions here for the Pacers and getting them wins. But with that being said, Facci, if you're hoping the Pacers spoil Myles Turner's return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, then hit me with those 3 points.
Let's go Pacers.